Greetings, travelers. Welcome to In the Cafe. Today we have a very, very special episode coming at you live. I believe we are still in the Euclid Galaxy at the NMSA Hub. Today we've got a very special guest. Today we're at Boid Gaming's base. Boid, it's a pleasure to see you. It's been a long time. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. Thanks for having me on. It's been too long since I heard your voice last.
It has. We all get busy in life and in the game. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show.
Oh, thank you, mate. I was very happy when I seen that you'd featured me on Cafe, mate. It really made me day, that.
I'm glad. I'm
Uh,
glad. That's the whole point. Is we wanted to make you feel special. We're really happy to feature you, and it's been a long time coming and well deserved. We are at your one of your bases here in we'll just say an unknown location at this time, and it's really awesome. You've created this sort of Japanese style temples and walkway and everything. Perhaps afterwards we'll do a quick little run through and walk around the base and take a look around. This is a
yeah,
pretty
sounds
amazing
good.
place. Yeah, really amazing place. I see you're rocking a different character than I'm used to now. What looks like the frog face, Gek, I think.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. It's one of them what you buy from Anomaly.
Yeah, one of the visages that you can buy. Very cool. I haven't seen this one on a lot of characters, and I like how you're using something that is original and different than everybody else. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's actually the only one I've bought. I usually save me Quicksilver things for base parts if they come out.
They are a little
So,
expensive, you're right. Those massages are like 3,200, I think, a piece. And yeah, they can run you down a little bit. Very cool. I like that. Nobody's really used that one before, and so I'm really kind of happy to see that.
cool.
Really cool design. I like what you've done, all green and whatnot. Um, so let's move on, I guess. I'm sure everybody already knows, but we're going to ask it anyways. Whereabouts are you from?
England, mate. Sheffield,
Oh,
more
right on.
specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess you're looking forward to the new meetup that's coming this year. The one that was supposed to be in Guildford, but is now online.
Online, yeah, definitely. It's just a shame we couldn't meet up in person again because that was great last time. But online will have to do with times being what they are at the minute.
Yeah, yeah. COVID sort of has changed a lot of things within the world these days. How are you coping with that?
Yeah, it's been boring, but I've been keeping my sense sane. I built a pond outside in garden and just little projects and that. And been doing some building in here. I've been trying to keep my base tours going for people and just same boat as everyone really. I think it's been a changer for a lot of people, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has. I know myself. I'm pretty lucky that I'm one of the essential services, so I don't really get
Yeah,
affected so much. But I see the outside world and a lot of other people that are affected, losing their jobs,
yeah.
and whatnot. So I'm glad that you're keeping busy, and I see that you're really busy because this place is amazing. It's a huge, and on a wonderful planet. The Diplos are wandering behind us. It looks just beautiful out. You picked a great setting.
Yeah, well, I've been meaning to come and build a base here for a while, and I was talking to Captain Steve a couple of days ago, and he said he'd give me a lift over. So I thought I've got to come and do him a base here and add a bit to his hub. Like, he
Yeah.
says he's gonna do a tour of this base on his channel, like. So
I'll have to
I'll
look
get
for
ready
that.
for that.
Yeah, Captain
Yeah.
Steve's a great guy. He's really fun to watch. Be curious to see what comes of his video tour of your base.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I actually met Steve at that last Guildford meetup. Me and my wife and him and his wife were on a team quiz, like, so had a
yeah,
good chat with him.
I saw some of the
It was really
pictures.
nice to meet him. Yeah,
As I was scrolling through the pictures for the feature, I came across those. The picture of you and Captain Steve and L Plays and a whole bunch of characters.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
going to be really kind of neat to see everybody with live video feeds of the event. Very different and cool, and I guess sign of the times.
yeah,
I guess that's just the way it is now. Um,
yeah. And hopefully next year we can arrange some face to face again.
Yeah, well, it does, this way does arrange for a great potential for a huge turnout of people. Being
Yeah, yeah,
online,
exactly.
nobody has
Yeah,
to travel. It's literally click on and join the server and jump in. which is kind of neat. I'm not sure how that's going to be, whether it's a video screen of multiple faces or what, but interesting nonetheless. I'm looking forward to it to check it
Yeah.
out. I've never been to one of those meetups, so I'll probably be the shy guy in the corner, sticking my head in once in a while, going hi.
Oh, I thought I would be when I went down to Guildford, but everyone was so friendly, and it was amazing thing to go to. I've never been to it like that before for any gaming thing about, but I had to for this game because I've put that many hours into it, and I don't think there's a nicer community.
It really isn't a better one. That's just it. It's this community, this game. We've played it now for quite some time, and something keeps drawing us back. And it's not necessarily the game itself, as opposed to the people that we're playing the game with.
Yeah,
And we all
exactly.
appreciate each other and the things that we do and the creative things that we make. And we learn from each other in those little ways. We're somewhat of an older generation crowd, and tend to sort of, just sort of hang out and build these amazing creations. How long have you played the game?
Since release.
So you're a day one player. I've
Yeah,
always known that,
yeah.
and our viewers do as well. What keeps you going in this game? Like for after so many years, is it the community? Is it the game? Is it new build pieces?
Yeah, uh, I don't know. I seem to look in everyday life and see stuff and think, oh, I could build that in No Man's Sky, and then go and try and do it, and usually it turns out alright. I've tried some things which haven't turned out so good, so I've just scrapped them. But yeah, I've droughts every now and again, but I keep going by visiting other people's bases and keep putting them on channel and stuff. So
Yeah, and you get some
it's
great ideas seeing other people's bases.
oh
Some
yeah,
pretty
I think
creative stuff.
there's like bases I got to, and I think, they've used that from someone else's base, what I've seen before. But that's a good thing about this community, innit? You get ideas off each other, and no one minds. Yeah, nicking each other's ideas. I know a
Yeah,
lot's.
it's about sharing.
Yeah, yeah,
People share
definitely.
ideas, and just because one person came up with it first doesn't mean it's not worthy of sharing. That's actually a compliment in my book, that others want to try that same method or the same look. So that's always a good thing with the community, is everybody is just so kind and great. Um, One of the things that you do that is such a big thing within the community is you feature and showcase other people's bases, which is one of the most selfless acts there is. Instead of your own bases, you're out there almost every day, putting out a new video for somebody else, a random person within the No Man's Sky community who hasn't normally been recognized or even heard of. And there's Boyd showing his base and getting his name out there. What made you decide to do that?
At first I was just building my own bases, and then I seen uh, people's bases, and I just thought that they deserve to be seen by more people. These bases, they put a lot of effort into them, and what better way to when you put some effort into something than someone showcasing it for you? If they've got their own channels, I'd let them do it this ends. But for these people who ain't got time or don't like recording or out like that, I'm happily put it out for them and get the bases showed around the community.
Well, it's a pretty noble thing that you do. A lot of people are shy about their things or may not have the ability to record a video of it. But you'll come and you'll do a little video of everybody's, anyone's base really. And it's really cool to see because, when Boyd posts a video on the Amino, you never know who it's going to be or what it is until you watch it and check it out. And some of them are truly amazing. Others are, simple builds with which people have done a very good and clean job. It's such a huge variety of stuff, right? And it never gets stale because
Yeah,
it's so many different people. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
I like showing bases. I've got a few people who put bases out all the time what I show, but I like seeing people who I've not seen before. Like people who are just new to the game or whatever, and they want to show off a base, and I ask them and say, "I'll come and visit and do a tour of it if you want." And
yeah, it's
they're
pretty
usually quite
cool.
happy with it.
Yeah, and it must be a huge privilege to anyone who gets a call from Boyd, may I visit your base, because they know it's going to be on one of those videos that you put out there. And you know, your YouTube channel has been it's been up and going for quite some time. And if I'm not mistaken, that your YouTube channel is as old, if not older, than the game itself that you've been recording on it. Um, how long have you been a YouTube streamer?
I made my YouTube channel well before No Man's Sky, but I just didn't upload out to it. I think I did a few Minecraft videos with my son,
Hmm.
and then I didn't really upload out for a few years, and just started again with when No Man's Sky started base building. Really, foundation update on it. I think that was like about 3 months after release or something on it.
Yeah, it really lends itself well because you know you can go into photo mode, and everything that's there you can record right onto YouTube. And No Man's Sky has got
Yeah,
some beautiful, beautiful textures and scenery. It's a shame not to be recording it. I did a small taste of streaming myself a little while back, and there's nothing that can ever make you tired when you're exploring in this game, and showing it on stream is really quite cool, whether it's YouTube or Twitch. Um, Most of your content is recorded videos, but you also stream as well. What do you have, like a preference of pre-recording or streaming?
I did put a survey out on my YouTube to see what people preferred, and a lot of people said they preferred cinematic base tours. So I started trying to do more of them, and but I've also been doing tours with creators at base, where having them give me a tour through it and talking on video as well, and that seems to go down well.
Oh, right on.
Uh, so I'm trying to stick to them two sorts of videos at the minute. Like streaming, I just really stream when I'm building myself, and that's about it.
I must confess, I've been a viewer of a couple of your streams just to see what Boyd is up to that day. There's been a couple of builds where I'll pop in and you're just plunking along, adding a wall or a floor or something here or
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's always kind of interesting to watch you do things. You know, I had never seen how you'd done frontages before until I saw you do it. And I went, oh, I don't even have to glitch build to do that. And that's something that you do a lot of is you build, but you don't use glitch building as often as a lot of other players use it. You find that green state and use the creativity within that itself. Is there a reason, or do you just have like a preference, or is your controller just broken?
uh, yeah, well, no, I just have a preference, to be honest. I do a lot of adjacent glitching, but with wire glitching and stuff, I do use it in a lot of my bases, but only if I really need to. I mean, there has been bases where I've used a lot of glitching, but there's some glitching I don't even know how to do still, like,
There's some
probably.
amazing things, very amazing, and a wonderful community within the whole base building community itself. Um, you're part of that as well. I think it's the PBF builders. Um, that's kind of taken the whole community by surprise, and HG should take notice because that's a lot of the fans are coming from the whole building community and really, really enjoy the building aspect. So I look forward to a lot of improvements and adjustments made so that building can continue in the game. Um, you mentioned you don't use a
Yeah,
lot of wire glitching unless you sort of need it, and I've always been sort of the same sort of way is I build everything in green state, and then when there's something specific that I really need to get in there or I really want or nothing is working and it won't fit, that's when I'll start going to wire glitching and to try and figure out ways of getting that piece in there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
I can myself, I've sort of fallen down to the rabbit hole a little bit and started doing lots of other little wire glitching and other techniques and stuff that are
Yeah,
being shown these days. And there's some really cool stuff, but when it comes down to it, the basic structures and when you make it work in the normal fashion without forcing it or glitching it, it has a natural beauty, and you can really see the creativity come forth when people create a base that is I don't want to say straightforward, but well, let's use the term green state because I guess that's the best way
yeah,
to describe it. Bases that are green state built without having to fight or glitch and so on. you can be basic or you can have this real amazing beauty. And some people have this creativity, like yourself, and I've seen a lot of other people as well. They've got this amazing creativity to make these bases out of the basic structures and not have to glitch or cheat or do all kinds of funny things to
Yeah,
make things work.
yeah,
And I think that where that creativity is, that's where the real architectural genius comes from, is being able to make those pieces work without having to jam it in place, right? Um,
yeah,
you don't necessarily,
yeah. I know what you mean. But,
yeah.
but these are not in these people who have found these glitches as well. I've got to get hands down to them as well for finding these things within the game. Things what not really meant to be able to do, but that they've found them. It's really amazing.
It is. It's nothing against the wire glitching itself. In fact, I use it many times, and I really enjoy using it in a lot of aspects because there's some amazing creative things you can do. But there's something to be said sometimes about doing a build without the glitch
Yeah,
building. Yeah, and
yeah, definitely.
you're one of those builders that tend to work in that sort of area, and it's refreshing at times. Because with so much going on and so much excitement in the building community, sometimes it seems like wire glitching has taken over the whole building thing. But yeah, it's definitely appreciated and loved within the game, and I hope they don't take it out, because
I don't
I
think they can.
really do like it.
I really don't think they can. Nah,
Yeah.
I think it'd make so many people uh, upset with game. I don't think they'll take it out. I don't
They've
think there's any reason to take it out, to be honest.
No, you don't lose or win anything, or sorry,
No.
gain anything by wire glitching, except satisfaction knowing that you got
Yeah.
that piece to fit. And like you said, I hope they don't take it out because it's too good for the game to have that available
Yeah.
in there. And I like how it's the way it is because it kind of creates the idea of advanced level of building, sort of like the next level of
Yeah.
architecture, right? You master this one level and then you work up to another level
Yeah.
where you master wire glitching and adjacency
Yeah. It's
glitching
about
and
pushing
blender glitching.
limits, isn't it?
That's right, and I kind of dig that because it gives that sort of illusion of ranks, of
Yeah.
tiers within the whole building community itself, and that is really kind of neat how it's kind of sort of made out that way, even though there is no structure. It's just people building.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very, very, very cool. Um, what it, I would say this is probably a pretty obvious question, but what do you like most in the game? Is it the finishing the build? Is it the actual building itself, or do you just like flying around and touring other people's builds?
I'd say I like building itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's where you
Definitely.
find your actual piece is building, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I also like visiting other players' bases as well. Definitely.
yeah. It's pretty cool, I have to admit. Seeing other people's builds and all the creativity, and you've shown so many. Scrolling through the videos, there were so many. I couldn't decide on what videos to put down on the feature, and so the best way was just to put a link to your YouTube channel so that people can peruse through them themselves, because you've done so many videos for so many people.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, like I've made over 250 bases myself. I think I've visited probably over 200 at least bases.
wow.
So
So now, speaking of bases, let's go way back in time here. You are the original builder of the McDonald's
yeah,
base,
yeah,
and as the sign says in the real stores, over 2 million served. It's pretty much like that in No Man's Sky. I think everybody, if they has pretty much visited that base at least once, and if they haven't, they're somewhat of a new player and will be visiting at some point. And there's something funny about that. That was one of the oldest bases and most best designs that you came up with because
yeah.
you
Well,
recreated it so well.
yeah, yeah. Well, I did build bases before that, but then when I built that, it got noticed by PC Game on their site and stuff, and I think Sean tweeted about McDonald's and something like that. So yeah, it really
which is pretty
really
cool.
inspired me to make some more stuff. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think I built a KFC and stuff after that, and yeah,
yeah. No, they're all pretty amazing. I've seen, like simple pop cans, like a Pepsi or a Fanta. You've made so many amazing builds. And it's like the list keeps going on. You say you see things in everyday life and then you go ahead and build them. I've seen a lot of those builds that you've done, and they're all remarkable work. And you've done it, before some of these amazing updates, before wire glitching, before the cool parts and stuff like that came out. When it was just blocks. Um, you found a way to make circles out of blocks, and you perfected that, and curves and everything else. Those are things of great architectural geniuses. And I would definitely consider you as one of those, up there in that category. Um,
oh, thank you.
well, you're very
Well, that
welcome.
means a lot, mate.
Uh,
No,
Well, it's true.
yeah, that means a lot. Yeah,
You've
cheers.
done some amazing things in this game, and you've always done them, right from the very get-go. All the builds that you've made were always amazing. It's funny because you could say you can watch the progression of a lot of players, but with Boyd Gaming, you were always amazing. And it's not a progression that you're watching with you. It's more of, what will Boyd build next? Because it seems there's nothing that Boyd can't build. You've always found a way from, you know, the Millennium Falcon, to you know snakes and spiders, and I think you build the octopus from the rum. What's that called? The kraken.
Yeah,
You've done some like incredible stuff here, and it doesn't matter if it's got curves or round things or things that aren't even in the game. You still seem to find a way, and it's that creativity of being able to find those parts, which, yeah, myself, I somewhat lack a little bit of that, where I find difficulties creating things, and so I just give up on those ideas. I'm coming back to that myself now with Blender glitching, because now I can sort of see how to do it. But you've always been able to do that, and to have an eye of that architectural, genius is really a special, special gift. And there's but a few who really have that talent in the community. There's a lot of people who can build, but that architectural genius is that one's at that top spot kind of thing, where very few people actually have that, and you've demonstrated it so many times. Um, do you have like any favorite bases that you've done over the years?
I think I don't know, mate. My favorite probably McDonald's, definitely. It has to be.
Who doesn't like
Just
McDonald's,
because
right?
that's where it like started. Where I started building
Yeah,
a lot, and when I first got recognised and stuff. And
yeah. Well, that's not all you've been recognized for as well. You actually had another thing that going as well, to feed your base building need, and that was if I'm not mistaken, the Galactic Construction Company. Was that correct? Have I got that right?
yeah, that's correct. There were a few of us who started that, and we ended up raising like £2,400 for charity just by
Which is,
building bases for people.
and that's pretty amazing. And that was the Alzheimer's charity. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Alzheimer's. My nan died from Alzheimer's like about 6 months before that. So I thought that, well, charity what resonated with me. So I thought,
well,
what
that's
better one to do it than that?
yeah, and that was really amazing that you were able to do that, and to have people, give donations for the Alzheimer's Fund, for the
Yeah,
builds. Nobody had done
every
that.
donation, what amazing. No matter how big or small it were, it was level of sport were really
That's really
amazing.
amazing.
And
Yeah,
and to get Sean and Hello Games to donate as well, they once we got up to £800, they doubled it and donated £800 themselves. Hello Games, so
which is
that was
really
really
incredible. Y-
nice.
Yeah, that's incredible when they did that. I remember when that happened. And a little bit of recognition from Sean Murray and Hello Games, as well as putting a little bit of light on the Alzheimer's Fund, and getting a little bit of funding for that, which is really incredible. You're the only person that I know of in the game that's ever done that, which is truly remarkable and amazing. and there was a market for people who were giving money. You said you raised up to $2,000, which is really
Yeah.
amazing. Is that still going on, or do you not you're not doing that right now?
I did one once we got cross play. I did one for an Xbox player. I
Hmm.
think he donated $50, which took us up to like £2,400.
Wow,
I don't know what that is in dollars. I think that's about
excellent.
$2,600 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Good for that player for donating, £50 to the fund, right?
Yeah, well, he'd been waiting a while, and then when crossplay come out, he says, "Are you still wanting to do this?" So I says, "Yeah, yeah, I might as well. As it's a bit more for charity." So
Right on, man. That's such an awesome thing, man. A great cause. Um, what Jeez, I, I don't even have words to say of how amazing it is that you're doing this for not just the Alzheimer's fund and community, but within the game, and people still coming out of the woodwork to
yeah,
to want to do that, and that's awesome, dude. I'm really
yeah,
happy
and
for you.
and yeah, it's definitely still good. If anyone wants a base building, I've got loads of bases I can replicate off my channel if they want any of them, or I can make some uh, personal for you.
Definitely get a hold of
As
Boyd.
as 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 little as $5 to charity, it goes straight to them. I don't keep any of that money at all. It's all
That's
to
fantastic.
charity.
That's just awesome, dude. You know what? You really are a class act. Um, I I feel bestowed interviewing you today. Wow. Yeah. So that's the Galactic Construction Company, and if anybody is interested, definitely talk to Boyd. He's not hard to find. His videos are all over YouTube, and there's links to him everywhere. So definitely get in touch with Boyd if anybody is still interested in something like that. Um, Dude, that's just incredible, and it blows me away that you just continue to do such amazing things for the community, for the people, for just everyday good, being a good human, and that's says a lot about your character. Um, I should probably get on with some of the other questions here.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, mate.
So you what what keeps you playing after all this time? Like we covered a little bit of this earlier, but there's something more that keeps you playing, the love of the community, or the building. Um,
Yeah,
there's you built so many things. How do you find inspiration to build more?
I don't, the world's amazing, isn't it? There's that much things in the world. I don't. I think if you're looking for things to build, you're always going to find something. Just keep your eyes open and see if help pops up.
Well, that's right, because it doesn't have to be an actual base. It could be a flower or a pop
Oh yeah,
can.
exactly, exactly.
Um,
And a lot of my bases are just cosmetic, and they're not functional bases. A lot's been in past, like you said, mate, about my giant Pepsi can, uh,
yes,
stuff like that.
I remember that, and the snake that you made that
Yeah, yeah,
wrapped around that tube, way, 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 way back. I remember a lot of the amazing builds, and it seems like you keep coming out with something else that just blows people's minds, whether it's Japanese style sort of cabana like this, or a rock garden, or um, geez, you've made some amazing stuff. You made the Stark
yeah.
Mansion. The Stark Mansion was really amazing
Oh
all of
yeah,
its
Start
own.
Mansion. Yeah, yeah,
How you built that on the cliff and everything. It looked just like it. I was
yeah.
so impressed. Um, yeah, that was a
I know, I
really
know.
awesome base.
Me, Nico, and Veritas did a lot of builds as well. We built Eiffel Tower and that. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. So both
That
very,
all
very
out,
talented
all out
builders.
of wires. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
yeah.
turned out really good.
Yeah, I remember the Eiffel Tower. That blew my mind that you guys had built that one as well. Both of those guys very talented builders
Yeah,
in their own
yeah.
right.
Nico actually jumped on to help me with a bit of this build. What we're at now. Yeah, I always give him a shout if I see him online. Like, and
Oh yeah, Nico's a great fella. Always fun to play with. He's got such a great personality, and he's so chipper all the time. It's a
yeah,
pleasure
yeah,
playing with somebody who's always happy. And it's always a fun day. Hanging out with those guys and building and trying out new things. They've got some creative ideas, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, like I think you made a city with those guys as well. Some really amazing
Yeah.
collaborative builds. So now, do you prefer building, in a collaborative way with others, or do you have like a preference of building alone?
No, not really. I think I prefer building with other people, really, now. I used to like just jumping on and building by myself, but uh, I mean, lately it has been hard to build with people. Like you were saying earlier, game's in a bit of a mess. I don't know if it's due to coming update or what, but we're having problems syncing up together and
Yeah.
seeing stuff, but
Well,
it
I
is
mean,
what it is.
we do have this crossplay now, and as great as a thing that is, that there come a few bugs. So hang in there, everybody. The bug fixes are coming. HG is a very small company, and of course they've introduced something very, very big in the game. Crossplay is something we've all wanted for a long time. I know
Yeah.
myself, I love playing with some of those newer Xbox players, or the PC players which we've been playing side by side with for years, but have never been able to actually physically meet in game. That we can all do that now, and we can build side
Yeah,
by
it's great.
side. I haven't practiced much building with other platforms so much, so I'm not sure how that renders in when it happens. But as things get worked out, I'm sure HG will make it so that it is full crossplay, and what is seen on Xbox is seen on PlayStation all the time, and a true melding of the different platforms. I'm looking forward to that. Until then, we may have to have a universal reset to avoid collisions.
Yeah, well, like LO Games, even though they are a small team, they do chuck out updates and fixes quicker than big AAA companies. I think it's a couple of days after an update they start fixing stuff, don't they?
They really do. They're fast. Yeah, and it's like they know that there's going to be a problem with one thing. So like, okay, well, we've got a problem with this, so we're going to put it out, but we're going to have a patch in 2 days, and let's just see if the community can not kill us for doing so.
I think
But
they've a lot of community is so grateful for how much they've given us now. Anyway,
well, they've proven that they always come through in the clutch. Where we enjoy the game, and then they come out and give us something really awesome. And not
yeah,
only that, they give it to us for free, and then they fix it for free, and
yeah,
get it
definitely,
sorted out so that it works. And yes, there are still bugs within the game which may not have been fully worked out. But a lot of that comes to the fans themselves. We have to do our part too, and we have to send in our Zendesk tickets, because if they
yeah,
don't know there's a problem, well, they can't fix it. And because they are a small team, they have to do things on a first come first serve or most popular basis. So the more people that complain about one bug, they're going to fix that bug faster than if, say, one person saying, "Hey, you forgot my one-wing ships. You got to fix that." They're
yeah,
less
yeah,
likely to work on something that is really only one person really has noticed or cared about. Because if it doesn't affect the masses, then they're going to put that on the back burner for
definitely,
obvious reasons. Yeah,
definitely,
and I don't blame them for doing so. You want to keep the masses happy, and they've done a really good job with that. I have to admit, the crossplay came in almost seamlessly. They really did a good job introducing that and having it all work. Very few bugs joining other games, and so on and so forth. Some players have experienced problems with black screening or crashes, but
yeah,
that goes with the territory, and usually HG fixes those problems. But you got to send in those Zendesk tickets. Um,
yeah.
is there like a certain technique of building that you like, or a certain style that you like to do more than others? Are you like a block builder, or do you prefer using the in-game structures like the walls?
So I try and mix it up as much as possible. Really,
Yeah.
uh, I like builds where I've used both, and they're probably my favourite builds that I do when I use both types and make it look good.
You've always found a way to.
Obviously not just chucking pieces together here and there, but like if I can make them look right and use all different pieces in build, I think that's when it comes together great.
You're a master of making the different components fit nicely between the walls and the was it the construction pieces, the tubes and the blocks. They don't snap to each other, but they will snap on or around each other, and you've always found a really good way of making it all fit and merge beautifully, so that it looks the way it should look. You know, like framing a window or a frontage or pillars. You know, underneath a structure. You don't necessarily have to use some of the in-game structural pieces to create those. You can find other ways like cylinders and frame it
Yeah.
in really, really nicely. I learned a few techniques watching you do that, and I used some of them myself in a few of my other builds, just because it was easier. And and if you watch Boyd long enough, you can pick up a few tricks which can really make your builds go along nicer and smoother. Highly recommend some of your
And
tutorials.
yeah,
Yeah, you've made a
yeah.
few
I try and
tutorials
put
over
them
the
out
years.
as yeah, yeah. I try and do as many as I can just to give people ideas how to make things easier or at least look a bit better.
Yeah, there was
Uh,
one in particular that I used actually just recently was the fireplace one that you
yeah,
made. Yeah, that was really nice. I like how you did that.
yeah,
Mine didn't turn out quite the same, but then again, I
yeah,
played around with it a little to sort of
yeah.
suit the build I was looking for.
I
But
did,
the idea of
yeah,
creating it and using the half walls to make it smaller than the average square size, that hadn't occurred to me. And so
yeah.
when I
Well, I
saw how
did
you did
actually
that,
see. Yeah, I actually seen someone else do a fireplace like that, but not as small as that one what I did. So I just like modified it. But did you see my fish tank? I did
I did.
think of that myself. Yeah,
Yes, your fish
yeah,
tank was really awesome, and it gave me a lot of great ideas, and one of which I tried myself. It didn't work out just because of the build that I had, so I tried it a different way. But it was your idea of putting the fish tanks in behind the walls and having it look like that, which gave me the idea to do so. And you're the first person to have the fish tanks inside the walls like that.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
one of the
That
streams
was one of
I
them.
did catch of yours when I was watching you. Um, and it was really, really cool how you did that. And you put like several of them in there so that there would be lots of fish. Um, that's a great idea. Um, to have lots of them in there. And you framed it in the wall so beautifully. You wouldn't even have known that there was, like this gap there between the tank and the
Yeah,
wall. It was really, really well done. And you've done so many things like that, whether planters, creating planters, and stuff like that, or God, it's endless. All the things that you've created out of nothing, and simple blocks and shapes, has boggled us, for years. You've even had a hand at racetracks. You want to tell us a little bit about some of the racetracks that you've built over the years?
uh, yeah. I built one a long time ago. We did that great Nomad race, didn't we? What I hosted. I think we got this was before we had proper races, wasn't it? And I
Yeah.
made a course. We didn't have like a race initiator, did we? I think we just had a. I can't remember.
There was a race initiator, but it was different back
Yeah,
then. Yeah, and it actually
yeah, it
worked.
was different.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't even work now, does it? But
that's right. It was you and Ranger created the Nomad race
yeah,
on
the
two
two,
different
yeah,
tracks.
yeah,
It,
yeah. He
it was
had
pretty
a
amazing
Diplo,
time.
it's what called Diplo something, and yeah, it was really good. We had like Cobra in there and big YouTubers, didn't we? And I think we had prizes for winners and stuff.
It
It
was a
was a
lot of
good
fun.
event.
It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah, the community really rallied around a lot of these events where, it's just a race and we're all having some fun. And that was when multiplayer was first introduced. And back then it was orbs. We didn't have these characters and visages.
yeah,
It was just
yeah.
orbs. And that was cool too. I really liked the orbs. But I must say these interviews would not be possible as orbs or orb state. Um, so having the characters was a really, really nice plus that HG gave us, and
Yeah.
they just keep on giving these amazing things. You know, wow! I'm just gonna do a little pan around inside here. Such so many cool things that you've packed in here, and it's just a simple
We did
structure.
great building projects, didn't we, as well? I did Hollywood project and gaming project.
That's
Uh,
right.
we built
Project
like,
42, Hollywood,
yeah,
were
Project 42,
mass.
what first one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were mass builds. Let's talk about the Hollywood project. That was the one that you were most directly involved in, and you put a ton of builds in that one. That was
Yeah.
themed Hollywood. And how many builders did you have for that? There was like a
I think
dozen.
about, yeah, no, I think a bit less than that. I think about eight or nine.
Hmm.
But we put like 50 builds out, made all 50 builds and then just released them to public all at once. Like we in a certain region at a space, like, uh, but at that time you could only have one base per system, or
That's
if you put another base in that system, it would wipe out first base, so no one could see it. So we really, like did like 50 different systems in that region.
That's right,
Uh,
and that was the old style of bases with the base
yeah,
pod instead of a base computer, and so
yeah,
we had to get original back then, hiding those pods within the base. Um, you know, you've helped me
yeah,
on a number of occasions with different builds that I've had, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to hide that silly little pod, or incorporate it somehow into our base. And you've had some great ideas of building around outside it and so
yeah,
on. So it's visible inside, but only if you really, really look. And
yeah,
that actually really helped my building a lot because when I realized how to do that and how to make a sort of a cabin style home, that was sort of a that was a thing that I could do, you know. And
yeah.
so I had a whole bunch of prefab builds that I would throw up like that very quickly because it was so simple to use with cuboid rooms. If you remember correctly, we'd put cuboid rooms around them and then
Yeah,
staircases, and
yeah,
it looked pretty darn good for its time, I have to admit. A long way has come. I should say we've come a long way since then. Um, but those designs are still not too bad, and
no, no,
they have a good look. You know, like each style has its own look, and that one in itself is a really clean look, which I do miss sometimes. Um, but we've got so many great components and features now, and we can build circles and I mean,
yeah,
they're not perfect
yeah,
circles, but they're as close to perfect as perfect can get with square pieces, and that's pretty amazing within itself. Recently, you saw, or sorry, you showcased Agent Tomcat with one of his builds was the circular door, automatic door.
yeah, yeah.
That
That was amazing.
that blew me away, and the amount of work that goes into creating that one thing was mind blowing how much
Yeah,
framework is involved in something like that. Do you ever take part, or I guess better way of putting it is, do you ever do your builds ever have framework that is so ridiculous that there's probably more pieces in the framework than the actual component itself?
they have done. Yeah,
Yeah.
there has been builds. What's just took me hours and hours and hours just making framework. Usually when the circular builds, nah, and you have to build the circle first, and that takes up most of your time.
Yeah.
I know I did a build for GCC. I think it was $100 donation build, and just prep work for that took like about 4 or 5 hours just to get it started before we even really started building.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
But
the framework is in some cases it really is a masterpiece of components, you know, of put in such a way so that you can snap together all the right components.
yeah,
I myself have spent hours on framework, and that to me that's the hardest part. Is I can see the finished product, but getting from A to B is the
yeah,
hard part. Is I have to be able to figure out how to make the framework to fit into there, and that's where I have a tough time sometimes
yeah,
is figuring that out. And great builders like yourself and Beeblebum, Nirvana, and Action Pants Gaming, they've all sort of helped me along the way, and shown me ways of creating that framework without, you know, melting my own brain, because there's so much that goes
yeah.
into that stuff. Um, yeah. Now, how this is something that I stress is quite important, but I want everyone to hear it from you. How important is framework?
It depends what you're building.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah,
I've always
yeah, it
found it to
really
be of
depends on
the
the size
greatest
of the build
importance.
and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Because without that frame, if you make a mistake, you have nothing to go back to. And so I've always
yeah.
maintained I keep that frame until the very last moment, until the base is complete, and then I'll start deleting the framework itself. Um,
Well, sometimes I've even made a framework and then like built up from each part of the frame just so I've got a replica in sky in case so that I can delete that framework, that first framework, and then still have a replica ready in case I need to go back to it
a placeholder.
and build back down from
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
like a sort of stencil but
Uh,
above the actual build. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
I've done
great way
that
of doing
before.
things because you can use the green state to snap those pieces, right back to where they originally were. So you literally just
Yeah,
pull back the frame, and then if you need to, you snap it all back into the area that you need it to. When I'm building aerial structures that float, like circles, saucers, things like that,
yeah,
I tend to do that as well, and I kind of like that because it gives me that safety net of I can remove my frame and just push it back over there. And when it's done, I'll
yeah,
delete that too, and it won't hurt me. But it's out of the way, and you're able to work within what you need to do. And sometimes,
yeah,
like when some of those things are, they're blender glitched in there, and they're really tight quarters. You really
yeah,
don't have room with all that framework there. And honestly, I
yeah.
don't know how you guys work with so much framework. Sometimes it
Well,
really is confusing.
I think when you're doing aerial bases and bases off of the ground, I think it's more important to have more framework than if you're on the ground because you can always get your pieces back in position when you're on ground and you've got something to work off of, usually. But
Yeah,
if
snapping
you
the
like doing
pieces on
a
the ground. Yeah, you're right. You
yeah,
can you can
yeah,
come from your building and know that distance and that line and the spacing is correct. But
yeah,
in the air, if you don't have that piece, you'll never get it back. If you lose that piece, you just never.
yeah,
There's that
exactly.
specific spot exactly. Um, and even when building circles and using the methods that others have shown, going off center, oh, bad idea. Never go off center. I've had builds where I actually have a plumb line that I use to keep me on center, where
Yeah,
I just stuck a wire at the top and ran it right down a tube and plugged it right at the center of the wire there, and there's my plumb line, and I work off of that. That's old school, like real life construction building there.
yeah. Are you looking forward to the new base parts when they come out? What have been data mined?
I am. There's some
Yeah,
really cool stuff. I look forward to more of it too, right? Like now we have heaters, right? Well, that's going to
yeah,
make things kind of cool because we can install heaters in our base when in some of those rooms that where the elements still affect us. I know rooms that are more than 2 stories tall don't seem to shield us as well as they used to in the past. So throwing heaters up in there would be really, really nice. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. Um, Boyd, you disappeared on camera here. Are you still there? Oh,